Speaking with John Smith, Oklahoma State coach. John, talk a little bit about the Big 12 championships. You guys came out as a team winner and qualified athletes here for the Nationals. I mean, did you see some things in that tournament that are giving you some, positive thoughts about the Nationals now?
I think there's been some things all season that have been positive. I like the fact that we did win the Big 12, but it wasn't a perfect event for us. It was far from it. We had some disappointment throughout the tournament, but in the end, I thought we clawed our way to the championship, and I think going in, we knew we were going to have to do that to win. And looking at this particular team and where we're at this point, you look at two freshmen like Jordan Oliver and Alex Mead. Both of them had good years. They've been challenged to me all year long. And they've made some changes I've asked. They've made some progress that I've liked. I still don't believe they're where I need them, but when I say where I need them, I mean from a standpoint of the things I'd like to see. But boy, they sure made a lot of progress as far as what they've done on and off the mat, and been real fun freshmen to coach. Obviously, some of our leadership with Jared Rusholt, number 2 seed right now, and lost in the Big 12 finals. Disappointing to him, but he's had a great year. He's had 2 losses, and I know he's no question he's looking for his NCAA championship individual trophy. But for us, it's been a good year. A lot of progress has been made. If we believe in ourselves, so we come to compete this weekend, we're going to have a fine showing.
Last year, with one All-American, obviously that was something that, the Cowboys don't traditionally have that kind of finish as far as individual performances. Has the team kind of rallied from that from last year and really said, hey, this year we're going to go back to the NCAAs and show our fans in the sport of wrestling what Oklahoma State wrestling is?
Well, I think it was a motivator from the standpoint of that you finish 16th and you have one All-American, sure. But I think, those things just don't come to you. All of a sudden you may have a heart of change as a team and say, that's not going to happen to us again. You earn those type of things. This team's had to earn it back. Hasn't been easy. It's been very tough. Been some disciplinary problems along the way, but for the most part we've ironed out some of our problems and some of the issues to come here this weekend and be considered a team that could be a threat. It's an uphill battle, obviously, for us to be on top this year, but it's not it's not something that's not possible. A lot of guys are going to have to wrestle. We're going to have to wrestle above our heads, and that's what you can do at the end of the year. I do believe our best wrestling still ahead of us here.
Are there any athletes that you think are really showing their best stuff, wrestling really well now that it's the important part of the year, that you're really pleased with their progress?
Well, I've had several guys do that. I think for us to win a Big 12 championship, we had to do it several guys had to do it at the championship. Although it wasn't a perfect event for us, it was an event that we had enough people wrestling really well. I like the way Jordan Oliver's been competing. I like the way that Mead competed up to the Big 12. I think that he had just a little bit of a setback there. Nothing that should carry over into this weekend. I like my wrestler at 157 with Neil Ersman. Has competed extremely well all year long. Very consistent. He's doesn't have a high seed here, but the way he wrestles is an inspiration to the entire team. Clayton Foster's had a good season. Mike Benefield, talking a lot about underclassmen right now in our program that I'm sure is going to give us some strength in the future, but we might as well have that kind of tournament we want now. And if we have the tournament that we're wanting, we'll be challenging for the championship.
As far as the team race goes, how do you see it playing out? Is this one hard to figure out? I mean, the conference meets were very interesting in regards to individuals and team results. What do you think will be the top few teams that you guys are going to have to beat?
I don't know about the top 2. We all know that the University of Iowa, with their upperclassmen experience, is going to be a tough team to beat, bottom line. But at the same time, a team that can get hot, a team that can wrestle well. I do think that there's going to have to be teams that wrestle above their head, and that's what we're hoping to do. So we're hoping to be one of those teams.
You think the young athletes you have in the program now are going going to take the team and keep them at a high level for the years to come?
Well, you know, it's with every year. You know, I mean, you gotta live that lifestyle. You gotta live that dream, and it's not about doing it right before the Nationals. It's about doing it 365 days a year, and we got some guys learning how to do that right now, and there's been a lot of patience on our staff's part to try to build individuals into that. So, yeah, there's not a lot of option for us. We need to be back there, and that's where we're used to being, and that's where I plan to be. And with that, understand that changes are going to be made, and changes need to be made, and we've had a lot of progress in that. So that's why we're here today, and that's why we're considered a team that's got a real opportunity to have a successful NCAA championship.
Coach Smith, tell me a little bit about your 197-pounder, the Russian Killa, and he's unseeded coming in, but a heck of an athlete. What do you think his opportunities?
He's learned a lot about collegiate season. Remember that you know, most of his life, all of his wrestling life, he's wrestled freestyle. And I guess the thing I've really learned, and I've always known it, but I really learned it over the course of the year working with Z, is that how tough collegiate wrestling is. The little things that you take for granted that you assume that most of your student athletes know. He didn't know a lot of those things, from referee's position to not locking your hands to riding a guy to getting up off the mat. Just some little things from a set out, turn in to a switch, things that he never really spent any time with, and it's taken time. He's had a good season. He's won definitely 3/4 of his matches. He's been beat by a lot of the Big 12 athletes in the bracket. He's got a tough draw to start with and throughout. So let's just kind of wait and see. I got a lot of high hopes with him in the future, and he's got a lot of high hopes on himself this weekend. So he's been a lot of fun to coach, but it's been a great challenge from the standpoint of just going back to some very, very basic wrestling and basic tactics that you learn through the years of wrestling that he never had.